Hello everybody and welcome to my English class. I am Revati and today I am going to take you through history. I am going to teach you English but a topic that is connected with history, that is the diary of Anne Frank, which is lesson 4 from our first flight textbook of class 10 NCERT. Before going into the lesson, let us ponder over a few points. Now we have everything available in life, yet we complain, we fuss about things that we do not have. We are leading a very comfortable life. We have square meals a day, more than sufficient. We have clothes to wear, we have a very comfortable house to live in, yet we keep complaining. There are people who live miserable lives, but then they never complain. They find happiness in what they have. They find hope. They radiate positivity in their lives. They exhibit understanding of life. And one such character was Anne Frank. At the age of 13, she started writing her diary. She wrote her diary when she was 13 years old. And her diary became a world famous book once it was published. She originally wrote it in Dutch, but the book was translated into various languages later and published, and it became a most wanted book in each and every library across the globe. Now, without much ado, let's go into the lesson from the diary of Anne Frank. Now, since this diary was written by Anne Frank herself, originally in Dutch, and now we are reading an English translation, an excerpt from her diary, right? So as I was telling you, there are so many people who do not complain about what they do not have. They are happy and satisfied with what they have. And let's go on. Before you read, Anneliese Mary Anne Frank, 12th June 1929 to February-March 1945, was a German-born Jewish girl who wrote while in hiding with her family and 4 friends in Amsterdam during the German occupation of Netherlands in World War II. So this story is based during the time of Second World War, when Hitler was attacking the Jews out of hatred. So she belonged, Anne Frank belonged to a Jewish family. So in order to escape from Hitler's attacks, they went into hiding in Amsterdam. Her family had moved to Amsterdam after the Nazis gained power in Germany, but were trapped when the Nazi occupation extended into the Netherlands. As persecutions against the Jewish population increased, the family went into hiding in July 1942 in hidden rooms in her father Otto Frank's office building. They went into hiding, and what was the hiding place? It was Otto Frank, that is Anne Frank's father's office building. In that building they went into hiding. After 2 years in hiding, the group was betrayed and transported to the concentration camp system, where Anne died of typhus in Bergen-Belsen within days of her sister Margot Frank. So it was unfortunate that they were betrayed and their hiding place was out. So the Nazis transported them to the concentration camp. You must have studied about concentration camps in history lessons. The Nazis used to concentrate, they used to capture the Jews from different places, put them in these concentration camps, and they were tortured and killed in large numbers in the concentration camps. So Anne Frank and all her family and 4 friends, they were shifted to this concentration camp. So there her sister Margot and both of them died within a short days span in the concentration camp. Only her father, Otto Frank, was the survivor from the concentration camp. All the other people who were captivated, they all were killed in this concentration camp. Her father Otto, the only survivor of the group, returned to Amsterdam after the war ended, and to find that her diary had been saved. So when he came back to his the hiding, he found Anne Frank's diary, among other things. Convinced that it was a unique record, he took action to have it published in English under the name The Diary of a Young Girl. So he saw that this diary was not just a normal diary. It was a record of the day-to-day ongoings, the feelings and experiences of a 13-year-old teenager Jewish girl. What she experienced from her point of view, from her perspective, you could see the world in this diary. So he decided that it's an important document and he got it published. In English, the diary was named The Diary of a Young Girl, and our lesson is a small excerpt from The Diary of a Young Girl. The diary was given to Anne Frank for her 13th birthday. So when did she receive her diary? On her 13th birthday, as a special gift, as a birthday present, she received this diary, and chronicles the events of her life from 12 June 1942 until its final entry of 1st August 1944. So around 2 years entries you will find in this diary. It was eventually translated from its original Dutch into many languages and became one of the world's most widely read books. There have also been several films, television and theatrical productions, and even an opera based on the diary. Described as the work of a mature and insightful mind, the diary provides an intimate examination of daily life under Nazi operation. Why was this diary so important? Why did it become so popular, so world famous? Because it reflected the life of people under Nazi rule. So clear were the entries in the diary that it was a document, much sought after document of the Nazi rule. Described as the work of a mature and insightful mind, the diary provides an intimate examination of daily life under Nazi occupation. Now, though she was just 13 years old, she was a very young girl, right? Even then, her work, her diary, her experiences, her entries in her diary showed work of a mature and insightful mind. Anne Frank has become one of the most renowned and discussed of the Holocaust victims. Holocaust victims are the victims of the Nazi rule, the concentration camps. So she became one of the most renowned, very famous and discussed victims among all the thousands of victims of the concentration camps. Now let's see what Anne Frank writes in her diary. Writing in a diary is a really strange experience for someone like me. See the beginning of your excerpt. Not only because I've never written anything before, but also because it seems to me that later on neither I nor anyone else will be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. So she feels that writing her diary is very strange. Why does she feel strange? Because she feels that she is not going to read her diary afterwards, and no one will be interested to read what she had written, because she was only 13 years old, a teenager, a very young girl. So she feels that what's the point? No one is going to read anything from this, from what I am writing in the diary. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I feel like writing, and I have an even greater need to get all kinds of things off my chest. But then, in spite of knowing that she won't be reading it afterwards and no one else is going to read it afterwards, she decides that she is going to write the diary nevertheless. Why? Because she feels that there are so many things in her mind. She wants to get the burden off of her. That's why she feels that she has to put whatever her ideas are on paper. That's why she says, I feel like writing, and I have an even greater need to get all kinds of things off my chest. It's not just she wants to do it, she feels it's a need. She has to get these ideas out of her mind. That's why she starts to write this diary. Paper has more patience than people. I thought of this saying on one of those days when I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless, wondering whether to stay in or go out. As we have discussed in the introduction part, she is in hiding along with her family. So there were a lot of restrictions around her. She couldn't just go out as she wished. They couldn't speak aloud. During the day, they had to keep silent throughout the day. Okay, they were completely confined so that people wouldn't identify there are people living in this office building. So it was like a confinement for her. So she says, since she cannot express all her feelings to someone, she says paper has got lot of patience. The paper is going to listen to me with lot of patience. I can write anything on it and it will accept it. It will not stop me from writing. That's why she says paper has more patience than people. People may not give her a listening ear, but a paper is always ready. I thought of this saying on one of those days. When did she think that paper has more patience than people? When I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless. Youngsters, teenagers have lot of energy in them. When they are not allowed to do what they want to do, they become listless. Wondering whether to stay in or go out. I finally stayed where I was, brooding in a very sad mood. Yes, paper does have more patience, And since I am not planning to let anyone else read this stiff backed notebook, grandly referred to as a diary, unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of difference. So she thinks, yes, paper has more patience. Anyhow, I am not going to let anyone read this diary until and unless I find a real friend. What does this tell us about her life? That she doesn't have a real friend as of now. That's why she wants to share. What are friends for, after all? To share, isn't it? You share everything with your friends, more than what you share with your family members, isn't it? So she needs someone like that with whom she could share everything. Since there was no person available, she decided on sharing all her ideas with her diary. But then she says, if she gets a good friend, then she is going to share her diary with a good friend. Now I am back to the point that prompted me to keep a diary in the first place. I don't have a friend. See, there it goes. She doesn't have a single friend. Yes, she is surrounded by people. She has friends in school. There are people she lives with. But then she could not share each and everything with them. She doesn't consider them to be her closest friends. So she is unable to share everything with them. Since she doesn't have any close friend, she decides that she has to write. She needs to write everything that she thinks in the diary.